Glue pizza and eat rocks. Google AI search errors go viral, and Google scrambles to manually remove weird AI answers in search, as 17 cringe-worthy Google AI answers demonstrate the problem with training on the entire web.
Vivek Ramaswamy repeatedly gets booed by libertarians for mentioning Trump, and Trump, accustomed to friendly crowds, confronts repeated booing during Libertarian convention speech. In White House state dinner, Obama and other stars woo Kenya's Ruto.
Bloomberg commentary says, in the U.S., the Supreme Court doesn't agree on what racism is. Kyle Rittenhouse tells Native Americans they can leave if they hate America. In the U.S., Democrats demand Alito recuse himself from Trump, January 6th cases, citing impartiality concerns over flag scandal. Justice Sotomayor admits she cries in her office after Supreme Court decisions. China slammed in G7 show of unity, threatening trade escalation. China firms seek dumping probe for EU pork, Global Times says. China threatens tariffs up to 25% on imports in retaliation for EU probe. U.S. tariffs on EVs and Chinese EV makers continue aggressive push into Europe under growing threat of tariffs.
Russian ministries propose to Putin to remove Taliban from terrorist list, announced diplomatic envoy. U.S. lawmaker tells Taiwan weapons are coming. China drills show deterrence need. Iran's near bomb-grade uranium stock rose. Talks stall, IAEA reports say. China could benefit from rise of extreme left and right parties in Europe elections, claimed in a report. In Germany, fans celebrate Turkish champions and sing Foreigners Out, and D'Agostino's song will not be allowed during Oktoberfest. Spying arrests send chill through Britain's thriving Hong Kong community. Trump attacks Biden. Hush money judge in Memorial Day post. Human scum. RNC accuses Secret Service of not addressing convention security concerns. Reportedly, Trump pressures Republicans to pass a law to keep him out of jail forever. Hunter Biden used Sandy Hook shooting memorial to coordinate meeting between Dad Joe, Chinese biz partner, claimed in the documents. Less than one-fifth of Canadians support anti-Israel protest encampments at universities, and anti-Semitism is a significant problem on campus, McGill and Concordia admit. University of Toronto seeking injunction to end encampment by pro-Palestinian protesters. Canada pledges temporary visas for 5,000 Gaza residents related to citizens.
In the UK, Rishi Sunak rejects claim he plans to move to California if he loses election, and UK's Sunak proposes tax cuts for pensioners in new election pledge. Starmer to say he's changed Labour as party, rules out raising income tax or national insurance. It has been commented as Brexit fails, and Conservatives are set to lose in the UK after 14 years.
Trump told donors he will crush pro-Palestinian protests, deport demonstrators. Tlaib claims U.S. voters will make Biden pay for defending genocidal maniac Netanyahu. Vanity Fair France apologizes for removing Palestinian pin from image of Guy Pearce at Cannes.
Argentina's Milei fires cabinet chief as reform bill stalls. Argentine court orders Milei government to distribute held-up food aid. Argentina to collaborate with El Salvador in adopting Bitcoin, claimed in a report. Macron tells Germans, let's double the EU budget.
China condemns Blinken over Taiwan, sanctions former U.S. lawmaker. ASML and TSMC can disable chip machines if China invades Taiwan, as TSMC's UV machines are equipped with a remote self-destruct in case of an invasion. In the UK, Matthew Trickett, former Royal Marine accused of spying for Hong Kong intelligence service found dead in park, and death of former UK Marine Matthew Trickett charged with spying for Hong Kong sends shockwaves through city. Officials refuse to comment on speculation.
Singapore says Taiwan one of most dangerous flashpoints in Beijing's rivalry with U.S. China starts punishment military drills around Taiwan days after island swears in new leader. Anwar says Malaysia doesn't have Chinophobia policy, hopes Washington and Beijing resolve their differences.
Israel to restart Gaza talks after hostage video sparks outrage. Israel warns of serious consequences for ties with countries recognizing Palestinian state. Iran's Khamenei tells visiting Hamas chief that Israel will one day be eliminated.
In Spain, the Supreme Court confirms the expulsion of the first civil guard convicted of spreading racist hoaxes. Europe anxious over potential Trump return. Kosovo PM admits, false and extremely dangerous. In the U.S. Attorney General Garland hits Trump, saying Department of Justice had authorization to kill him during Mar-a-Lago raid.
In UK elections, Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer hit campaign trail as Race for 10, Downing Street begins. In the UK, Number 10 refuses to honour Sunak's £1,000 Rwanda flights bet with Piers Morgan, and Sunak says no Rwanda deportation flights before election as campaigns begin. 3 months ago, Rishi Sunak accused of new low after betting £1,000 on Rwanda deportation flights, and Rishi Sunak says was taken totally by surprise when Piers Morgan offered him bet on small boats. Political consultant behind fake Biden robocalls faces $6 million fine and criminal charges. Top Biden campaign official held Zoom call with Haley supporters hours after she endorsed Trump. 1 day ago, Haley says she will vote for Trump, calls Biden a catastrophe. Cruz refuses to say whether he will unconditionally accept results of 2024 election. Car. Reportedly, Europe's new political consensus: we need to make more weapons. U.S. names Kenya major ally as Russian influence grows in Africa, and Kenya snags $3.6 billion highway deal in president's U.S. tour. As Kenya's Ruto, U.S. President Biden announced new investments to boost ties. U.S. expected to designate Kenya as major non-NATO ally, source says, as Biden pledges to designate Kenya as non-NATO ally during Ruto visit. Reportedly, 3 CIA operatives among 50 arrested in a failed coup in Congo. Putin signs decree to allow retaliatory seizure of U.S. assets in Russia. China condemns UK claims it's giving Russia combat gear, and US pushes back on British claim that China sending lethal aid to Russia. Poland undecided on engaging air defenses against Russian missiles in Ukraine airspace.
FBI investigating US eBay sales of treasures suspected of being stolen from British Museum. 51,000 lifts in Hong Kong not fitted with voltage-dip devices that cut risk of becoming trapped, officials reveal. Pope says in closed meeting that there is already too much bickering in seminars, says Italian press.
Former Boilermakers Union Chief of Staff pleads guilty to racketeering conspiracy. Texas Health Department appoints anti-abortion OBGYN to Maternal Mortality Committee. Justice Department and Department of Labor secure agreements with tech company Arthur Grant to resolve discriminatory whites-only job posting. Takeo Kobayashi, 6 times Nathan's hot dog champ, retires from competitive eating over health concerns. Bear meat kebabs at a family reunion lead to rare outbreak of roundworm disease. Nearly 80% of Americans now consider fast food a luxury due to high prices.
International Court of Justice orders Israel to stop military operation in Rafah, Israel unlikely to comply. Israel's actions are incompatible with international law, says Germany's Habeck. Israeli officials announced, ICJ ruling gives leeway to continue Rafah offensive. Shots fired toward Jewish girls' school in Toronto, no injuries. University of Toronto tells pro-Palestinian protesters to leave campus park. Jewish festival concert cancelled in Krakow over security fears linked to Middle East situation.
Zelensky accuses Putin of being madman following airstrike on Kharkiv hypermarket, and Zelensky on Putin. We have most inadequate enemy in 100 years. Stoltenberg calls on NATO countries to lift restrictions on Ukraine's strikes on military targets in Russia. Slovakia intends to procure more than 100 main battle tanks.
Junk from a SpaceX Dragon trunk may have crashed into a Canadian farmer's field. North Korean rocket carrying its second spy satellite explodes in midair, and Japan issues North Korea missile alert. Take refuge.
Sudan's army deepens ties with Russia. Iran as civil war rages. Rio is the 7th most dangerous city in the world. Belo Horizonte, 47th, and Brasilia, 69th.
Shrapnel from Israeli strike may have ignited fuel tank near Rafah, claimed in a report, and diplomats say UN Security Council to hold emergency meeting after deadly Rafah strike. Israeli, Egyptian forces exchange fire. Egyptian soldier killed. EU mulls Rafah mission. Next diplomatic steps after talks with Arab counterparts. An Irish foreign minister says EU mulling sanctions on Israel if it defies ICJ ruling on Rafah.
Kiev says talks on France sending military instructors to Ukraine are ongoing. Poland to restrict movements of Russian diplomats. Moscow promises retaliation. Baltic officials say they could send troops to Ukraine without waiting for NATO if Russia scores a breakthrough. Report. Amazon Fresh to cut grocery prices by as much as 30% to bring back inflation-battered customers. Wall Street reverts to 100 years old stock settlement system. U.S. economic growth will eclipse China's by 2031, and the transformation Beijing needs for revival may take several decades, if not longer, top demographer says. CBS claims First Amendment allows it to select writers best suited for its programs in discrimination lawsuit response. Afghan mine clearer killed by Taliban after it sees him in Emmy-winning film. Western fighters in Ukraine are getting killed because they assumed the war would be easy, says a U.S. veteran who fought there.
Recognition Act amendments. Harvard sparks 1,000-person commencement walkout after barring 13 from graduating.
European Investment Bank backs first Polish satellite program with loan to Bank Gospodarstwa Krajowego. Air taxi maker Lilium looks to France, Germany for lifeline. 6 months ago, it has been announced that Lufthansa in electric air taxi deal with Germany's Lilium. SpaceX weighs plan to sell shares at $200 billion valuation.
Norway to block entry for most Russian tourists. Moscow says it will respond. Russia says it will strike British targets if UK weapons are used to hit its territory, and UK supply drones have destroyed over $1.2 billion of Russian military gear in Ukraine, says UK official. NYT reported that Blinken favors lifting ban on Ukrainian strikes inside Russia with US arms.
It had been commented as, some Americans live in a parallel economy where everything is terrible. U.S. mortgage rates fall below 7% for first time since early April. In Japan, Advisory Council recommends raising definition of elderly by 5 years to achieve well-being.
Kia EV3 revealed. Compact electric SUV has more than 370 miles of range. Jeep teases all-electric Wagoneer S, promises 480 kilometers range. Reportedly, more than 7,500 people applied to buy the $325,000 Ford Mustang GTD. Turkish central bank keeps key interest rate steady at 50%. Macron says Europe needs a bolder monetary policy. Canada to spend more on debt after rate forecasts edge higher. Justice Department and Federal Trade Commission seek information on serial acquisitions, roll-up strategies across U.S. economy. DuPont plans three-way split in return to CEO Breen's playbook. Atari buys Intellivision brand, ending longest-running console war in history.
In the U.S., Justice Department sues Live Nation Ticketmaster for monopolizing markets across the live concert industry. 14 years ago, Live Nation and Ticketmaster merged, agreed to U.S. terms. EU Commission fines Oreo maker Mondelez €337.5 million for blocking cross-border sales. United States reaches over $310 million settlement with Norfolk Southern to address harms caused by East Palestine train derailment. On Friday, February 3, 2023, a Norfolk Southern train had 53 cars derail in East Palestine, Ohio.
Investor who lost $740,000 to Ontario's crypto king among 5 men charged with kidnapping him. Incognito market owner arrested after FBI tracked crypto transactions. Study finds discreet shipping used to sell e-cigarettes to minors.
Thousands of Israelis demand return of hostages after bodies recovered. IDF denies Hamas' claim that terror group has captured soldiers during Gaza fighting. Indonesia mulls ban on investigative journalism, LGBT content.
Uvalde families sue makers of AR-15, Call of Duty, Meta over mass shooting. Families of Marines who died in an Osprey crash sue Bell Textron, Boeing and Rolls-Royce, makers of the aircraft. UK scientists plan seabed explosions to solve mystery of missing flight MH370.
Upstart Chinese plane maker Comac is in talks with Saudi Arabia as it seeks to disrupt the Boeing and Airbus duopoly. In Mexico, Pemex production falls to its lowest level in 45 years, 1.4 million barrels of crude oil per day in April. UAW seeks a new election at Mercedes-Benz plants in Alabama.
Biden administration finalizes rule allowing states to add dental insurance coverage to Affordable Care Act plans. New malaria vaccine delivered for the first time. 1 year ago, 18 million doses of first-ever malaria vaccine allocated to 12 African countries for 2023 to 2025 by Gavi, WHO and UNICEF. Harvard scientist behind Justin Bieber's NAD therapy resigns, leaving China's booming anti-aging industry in hot water. Seoul to subsidize vasectomy reversals in bid to boost Korean births. Exercise spurs neuron growth and rewires the brain, helping mice forget traumatic and addictive memories. Ozempic cuts risk of chronic kidney disease complications, study finds. Deadly opioids smuggled into UK in dog food, BBC learns, and synthetic opioids previously linked to UK deaths are being advertised for sale on social media. California advances bill for porn site age verification. Chinese-led team's ultrasound robot uses AI for thyroid scan results close to that of doctors.
Only 57% of Japanese feel happy, third lowest rate among 30 countries, claims a survey. In France, for unemployment insurance, Gabriel Attal confirms a reduction in the duration of compensation. Rishi Sunak pledges national service for all 18-year-olds in UK election gamble.
Glue pizza and eat rocks. Google AI search errors go viral, and Google scrambles to manually remove weird AI answers in search, as 17 cringe-worthy Google AI answers demonstrate the problem with training on the entire web. CEO of Google says it has no solution for its AI providing wildly incorrect information.
IT admins can now delay Windows 11 feature updates for businesses. Instant messaging platform ICQ to shut down on June 26, after nearly 28 years. Google faces doubts from U.S. judge that proposed App Store reforms would be harmful.
Subaru, Toyota, and Mazda commit to new engine development for the electrification era, toward carbon neutrality. California launching pilot program to charge drivers for miles driven.
ByteDance and Kuaishou see exodus of top AI experts to new ventures as China's unicorn boom looks for next OpenAI. Elon Musk plans to build world's most powerful AI supercomputer. Report claims Micron gets hit with a whopping $445 million damages bill after it was found liable for patent infringements. Chinese employee accused of stealing SK Hynix chip technology for Huawei.
Pakistani hackers target Make in India defense programs. Bayer and 12 other major drug companies caught up in Syncora data loss. Study shows relatively low number of superspreaders responsible for large portion of misinformation on Twitter, and the journal reports as the disinfluencers. How over 150 anonymous Irish accounts are swamping X with extreme views. Microsoft to remove WordPad, Cortana, and tips in an upcoming update. Apple says future iPads could feature landscape Apple logo. A Tesla owner says his car's self-driving technology failed to detect a moving train ahead of a crash caught on camera.
More than 300 million children a year face sexual abuse online, study suggests. Netflix CEO says AI won't replace writers or take your job. Jennifer Lopez says AI has been really scary. Ads are selling skincare I know nothing about, using my face covered in wrinkles.
China's C919, after a year of domestic flights, preps its pitch for Western endorsement. Temu, Pinduoduo parent PDD trades near cheapest level ever as tech war. Alibaba rivalry deter investors. Tencent's WeChat Pay expands coverage to the Maldives amid rebound of Chinese holidaymakers heading overseas. China sets up third fund with $47.5 billion to boost semiconductor sector.
$250 million to put News Corp's journalism in ChatGPT, as OpenAI inks licensing deal with News Corp for ChatGPT training data. Bing's API was down, taking Microsoft Copilot, DuckDuckGo and ChatGPT's web search feature down too. Former Google CEO says the US and China's most powerful AI systems may one day be stored in military bases and surrounded by machine guns. Kenyan tech workers urge Biden to end modern-day slavery ahead of state visit. Biden moves to get CHIPS Act funding for Kenya. Leaked OpenAI documents reveal aggressive tactics toward former employees.
X confirms plan to make likes private, remove likes tab from profiles. Study suggests YouTubers cheer people up more than casual friends.
Microsoft announces that support for Windows 10 will end in October 2025. Microsoft phases out VB Script for JavaScript and PowerShell. Apple challenges €1.84 billion EU fine over App Store restrictions. iFixit ends repair partnership with Samsung over foot dragging, and reportedly Samsung requires independent repair shops to share customer data. Snitch on people who use aftermarket parts, leaked contract shows.
Experts find flaw in Replicate AI service, exposing customers' models and data. Conservative cell carrier, Patriot Mobile, hit by data breach. Harvard professor says he gets thank you notes from prisoners, some of which are secretly using smartphones to take his free computer science class. South Korea launches space agency to compete in global space race. Image from German music video falsely shared as proof of fake moon landing. And a few muddled words during China's Chang'e 6 launch set off a flurry of faked moon landing rumors. NASA finds more issues with Boeing's Starliner, but crew launch set for June 1st. Trump campaign sends cease and desist letter to block release of biopic The Apprentice. Nicki Minaj briefly arrested. Fined at Amsterdam airport after Dutch police say soft drugs found in luggage. Einstein visited Brazil against his will and called scientist a monkey. Diaries show. Patricia Richardson says ABC chose to end Home Improvement after equal pay proposal. Ghost in the Shell gets new TV anime series in 2026 by Science Saru. George Lucas receives honorary Palme d'Or from Francis Ford Coppola at Cannes Film Festival. Erotic dancer comedy drama Honora wins Palme d'Or at Cannes. Lightning strikes during Metallica concert in Munich.
Would jump at the chance to reunite with Bill Ward. Josh O'Connor and Kaylee Sweeney joined Daniel Craig and Rian Johnson's Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. Netflix to become new home of WWE Raw beginning 2025.
Call of Duty trailer hints Saddam Hussein as the main antagonist in Black Ops 6. Valve confirms your Steam account cannot be transferred to anyone after you die. John Cena daily drives a Honda Civic Type R. South Korean monk DJ enrages Malaysian Buddhist community for leading nightclub revelers in prayer dance. Pope Francis clears sainthood for Italian millennial known as God's influencer. In India, PM Modi invites ridicule for saying he is not biological, but sent by God.
Steven Spielberg sets new film for summer 2026, reunites with Jurassic Park and War of the Worlds screenwriter. PlayStation executive predicts focus will shift from graphics to immersive narratives. Lisa Koshy, Cody Rhodes, CCH Pounder and Busta Rhymes round out cast of Naked Gun reboot.
Jeremy Renner says he's accepted that he'll be in recovery for the rest of my life. Chris Hemsworth receives star on Hollywood Walk of Fame, says wife Elsa Pataky put aside her own dreams to support mine. Forever in your debt. You can never break the casino. NBA legend Charles Barkley reflects on losing $25 million in Las Vegas.
Cockroaches wouldn't exist without humans help them become one of the world's worst pests, according to a new study. Climate change is moving tree populations away from the soil fungi that sustain them. New method for modeling free-ranging animal populations finds macaque numbers smaller than expected.
New discoveries about the nature of light could improve methods for heating fusion plasma. Scientists discover how to grow diamonds from scratch in 15 minutes. Euclid Space Telescope reveals more than 300,000 new objects in first 24 hours of observations. Crows can deliberately plan how many calls to make. Study shows researchers reveal dynamic structure of FLVCR proteins and their function in nutrient transport. Japan may allow hunters to fire on bears in residential, commercial areas. Scientists discover CO2 and CO ices in outskirts of solar system. Magnetic anomaly in Brazil continues to grow, says U.S. government report. 4 years ago, NASA researchers tracked slowly splitting dent in Earth's magnetic field. White sharks lurking in Massachusetts waters. New England Aquarium warns ahead of Memorial Day weekend.
Normie dumps 99% as attacker calls meme coins tax contract a copy-paste job. Moroccan cybercrime group steals up to $100,000 daily through gift card fraud. Bitcoin ETFs hold over 1 million BTC, approaching 5% of total supply. Coinbase resumes XRP trading in New York amidst Ripple's clash with SEC. In the U.S., crypto engagement dropped to 7% among U.S. adults in 2023, Federal Reserve fines. Bankman-Fried's $30 million Bahamas penthouse is hitting the market. In the U.S., House of Representatives passed Emmer's bill that would prohibit the Federal Reserve from issuing a surveillance-style central bank digital currency, CBDC, that could give the federal government the ability to monitor and control individual Americans' spending habits. Hong Kong sees third major cryptocurrency exchange withdraw license application as Gate.io unit drops out. In the U.S., SEC approves rule change to allow creation of Ether ETFs as SEC approves Ethereum ETFs, aligning ETH closer to commodity and industry win.
Trump posts our country must be the leader in the crypto field prior to speech before libertarians, and Trump pledges to commute sentence of Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht if elected. Blackstone's chief, a GOP megadonor, says he will again back Trump. OKX bows out of Hong Kong, withdraws VASP license bid.
Mad Money's Jim Cramer endorses ETH as great store of value amid US dollar concerns. Spot Ethereum ETFs, if approved, will likely begin trading in July or August, as per Galaxy Digital report. 52% of top U.S. hedge funds own Bitcoin ETFs. Putin meets military plant chiefs, asks to speed up war economy. Polish FM says U.S. will strike Russian troops in Ukraine if Russia uses nuclear weapons. President of Ukraine urged Biden and EU to sanction Russia before invasion. They refused.
6 NATO countries plan drone war to defend borders with Russia. Russia's most modern tank suffers disco head glitch while under fire. Reportedly, Russia is producing artillery shells around 3 times faster than Ukraine's Western allies, and for about a quarter of the cost.
In Israel, Knesset to hold preliminary vote designating UNRWA a terror organization. Recently, Italy to resume funding UNRWA, pledges $38 million aid package for Palestinians. Israel raises the tone against Spain. We will harm whoever harms us. The days of the Inquisition are over.
Japan, South Korea, China to pursue North Korea denuclearization, announces Kishida, and North Korea condemns denuclearization discussion at South Korea, Japan and China summit. China calls on Japan and South Korea to reject protectionism in trilateral summit, and China, Japan, South Korea vow to work together to keep supply chains stable.
Sweden okays Ukraine use of Swedish weapons to strike deep into Russia. Nearly a month ago, in Norway, PST has uncovered Russian intelligence activities in Vestland. Spain to send Patriot missiles, Leopard tanks to Ukraine in $1.23 billion package, as Spain to give Ukraine €1 billion in military aid and decade-long defense deal. NATO Parliamentary Assembly supports Ukraine's right to hit targets inside Russia using Western arms.
2 more Russian officials arrested in widening military corruption probe, and BBC reports that Rosenberg comments, Russian President Putin's military purge echoes Prigozhin's call to act. Hong Kong minister demands UK give details on death of Matthew Trickett, accused of spying for City. Malaysia's 1MDB sues PetroSaudi executive, seeking $1.83 billion after it says sham venture made it believe a Saudi king-owned oil company. Argentina rejects International Criminal Court's arrest warrant for Netanyahu. With ICC decision, Germany says it will arrest Netanyahu if PM visits country. We will comply with the law. Reportedly, Israeli volunteers falsified accusation against Hamas for sexual assault, agency says. Recently in Israel, hostage families release clip of 5 female troops' abduction to push for their freedom. UN to establish Srebrenica Genocide Memorial Day despite Serbian opposition. Malaysia's Anwar under pressure to ditch airport deal with BlackRock entity over Israel arms links. In New Caledonia riots, France's Emmanuel Macron delays voting reform, TikTok ban stays.
EU seeks to stop Russia's imports of Western luxury cars via Belarus. Interpol detects 200 stolen vehicles from Canada each week around the world since the RCMP successfully integrated the CPIC stolen vehicle information with Interpol's stolen motor vehicle database in February 2024. Elon Musk now says he opposes U.S. tariffs on Chinese EVs, and Tesla drops delivery goal of 20 million vehicles a year from latest report.